Welcome to the Real Estate Show. From buying to selling and everything in between. Rochester's home for everything real estate. And now, your hosts from the Anthony Butera team of Keller Williams Realty, Greater Rochester. It's Anthony Butera and Jason Mancuso.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 19 of the Real Estate Show. We got Jason Mancuso, Anthony Butera here of the Butera team. And what are we talking about today? We got, how to prep your house before selling it.
Yeah, figured it was a good time right now. The weather has, I guess it's officially changed, but then again, it could snow tomorrow. Right now, I just figured the topic makes sense. We've got a lot of listings hitting the market, a lot of listings everybody's been waiting for, but, a lot of them we wish we could have got in a month or two ago, depending on what the condition is, right? Because you've got one opportunity to make a first impression, and there's very few houses that I'm walking into the first time where I can say, all right, we can do photos tomorrow.
Right.
Because what they think is photo ready compared to what we know it takes to really drive traffic is two different things. And I would say the one thing we are really pissed about is the condition of, how the house is going to look for photos.
Yeah, we always tell people the most important day of this process is picture day.
Yeah.
That's your opportunity. That's when it's going to be blasted out, every website in the world. We're using those photos for every other marketing piece moving forward. That's your one opportunity to really shine.
Yeah.
When the house is being shown after the fact, a private showing, open house, whatever. I mean, yeah, we don't want to leave dirty underwear on the floor, but it doesn't need to be like for each showing. We're not telling you, hey, mop the floor half an hour before.
We don't want to leave men's dirty underwear.
Right. Sure, true. As long as you live clean, generally you'll be okay. Because what happens is, keep in mind, you're off to work for the day, and you get a showing request while you're gone. You don't want to have to worry about coming back and cleaning up on the drop of the hat. So generally speaking, as long as you keep it, obviously it's a process. You're selling, so keep it clean, but you don't have to come back and do a total deep clean for each showing. So picture day is like, this is it. This is our opportunity to really make or break this process.
Yep.
As you alluded to, a lot of people think it's just, okay, let's meet with a realtor and get the house on the market the next day. That's not our approach. That shouldn't be the approach, period. I mean, this is like if anything, I want to meet you 3 months in advance of when you're thinking of selling.
Sure.
I want to be on the same page of, hey, here's price we recommend if you do nothing. And we've talked about this before, but here's, hey, if you want to spend a little money to really, kind of put some pizzazz on this place, and then here's the price that we think we can get you with that said. And if that's not an option, then okay, this is what you have to do to get this place ready. And let us know, at that point we're establishing a timetable. Okay, this is what makes sense timing on your end for whatever the situation is to go live on the market. And then, that week or the week before, we're really involved to make sure that, everything's being done. And it's not just show up and the place is a mess. Okay, whatever, we'll get the pictures and get out of here and get it on the market and see what happens.
After this, I'm going to a house. I was there a month and a half ago. I do the same thing almost every time. We create a punch list. Yeah. And if the punch list is, it's going to take them a while because, they could be a retired couple that has nothing but time. They could be people that work a ton. So their timeline is really on them.
Yeah.
I always say once you're ready, literally within 24 hours, we could be on the market if you're truly ready for photos. Mm-hmm. The other big thing, because we are in the market that we're in, here's an opportunity where I'm having conversations with sellers, depending on what their financial situation is. I'm always prompting them up because I look around and I look at when I walk through houses, I'm automatically going towards, okay, what's the negative feedback going to be?
Right.
Could we rectify that in a financially responsible way? And I always ask the question because I'm doing rough numbers in my head, and I'll always say, if I told you that spending $3,500 could get you $10,000 more than if you didn't spend the $3,500, is that something you would be interested in?
Right.
And if they're truly strapped, you don't have much wiggle room, then you have to just concentrate on elbow grease work and work that homeowners can handle. Maybe some painting, some touching up, a deep cleaning the yard up, throwing some fresh mulch down, pulling the weeds. Now, if they say, or if I said $5,000, I could probably get you $12,000 more for the house, because there is a lot of items when you can, if we can freshen up the kitchen and the baths for $5,000, the impact is, it could be 400% all day. And that's what we've been doing a lot of. We walk into these houses and they're nice, they're clean, but maybe it was built in the 70s and they have the original yellow countertop or green countertop, and they have the original green shower unit. You know what I mean? We have contractors, and the products that are out there right now are amazing, where we could take that old countertop, actually have like a couple coats of paint and some poly and like a hard cast over it, so it gives it a nice solid surface. And that Formica now looks like granite countertop.
Yeah, we've had really good success with that. It's literally paint, but done the right way. We're not just slapping on a coat of paint, right? So this is professional quality, but literally taking yellow laminate countertops, transforming it into what looks like granite on the surface, from photos, and then they get there and it's still a quality product in person, where it's like, okay, yeah, I can live with this. We're not like, when we advise the seller, we're not saying, okay, yeah, let's we got our granite contractor here, let's get them in here, spend $4,000 on countertops. That's not it, because here's what always you have to keep in mind when we're talking about doing any work to a home is anything you do cosmetically, bear in mind that the buyer for the home, they may come and blow this place up. Yeah. Even from the standpoint of just freshly painting a wall. Now, if you got a pretty bold color, a pink or whatever, a lime green in a room, a family room, for instance, then that's worth painting. Let's make it more neutral. Yep. But if you're already neutral and the paint's not brand new, generally speaking, unless it's in really rough shape, we're telling you to leave it. Nobody's not going to buy a house because of paint color. Yeah. So if you're pink throughout, then okay, we got a problem. But if you're just a neutral beige or whatever, and it hasn't been done in a while and it looks fine, take the Mr. Clean magic erasers to it. Those things. Yeah, but
exactly. Right? As long as it's not damaged, then good. But if your 16-year-old black trench wearing coat stepson is putting cigarette out on the wall, we're going to want to freshen that up.
Where are you supposed to put cigarettes out on?
You tuck them in the crawl space.
Got it.
Yeah. But, with that being said, sometimes it's, again, depending on what the situation is, sometimes we're just telling them don't do a single thing because they are either strapped or what needs to be done isn't going to get any return. But then there's also things where, back to the projects real quick, where I know we're going to get the return, like countertops, like bathroom vanities. You go to Lowe's or Home Depot, it's amazing how cheap you can get a nice new vanity. Now, is it made of particle board, and you're probably going to, you're going to have issues. That drawer is going to be jacked and crooked in 5 years, but perception is reality.
And it won't be your drawer.
And it won't be, exactly.
No, we're not here to dupe anybody, but at the end of the day, people pay for what looks to be new, right? Compared to, I'm always in the mindset, I'd rather have old wood cabinets that are 50 years old than this new contractor.
But I don't think you would tell anybody to take out those nice old wood cabinets, right, for the...
No.
Unless it was broken.
Never had that situation. Right. But can we paint them?
Yes.
Probably. And that's going to totally reinvent the kitchen, along with, we talked about countertops. A lot of times doing a backsplash isn't expensive. And now you've got a brand new kitchen, even though it's old.
And they even sell the backsplash. You never ever know. They're the panels.
Yeah.
And it's white subway tile panels you put as a backsplash and a little trim piece, and it looks great. It just freshens it up. And now back to the cabinets, right? So let's say they are structurally sound, which they probably are if they're older old cabinets, but quality. They're worn out. We can do a few things. Just recently, my contractor, I'll give him a shout out, Pat Wheelhand, he does from Wheelhand Painting. He has saved a lot of listings for us and priced very, very fair. Yep. And if the color is if it's like a maple or it's a darker oak where people can work with it and it's just a little worn, he will actually put like a gel coat on it to freshen it up and make it look, basically he's just revitalizing that finish. Now, if it's the standard older oak people aren't really into, but we got to make a decision to make. We're going to go like mocha or we're going to go white, and it's probably going to be depending on what floor you have, what countertops we have, what we're going to do with that, what appliances you have. So there's a lot of options, and like work like that, I mean, if it costs you a couple $1,000s for your kitchen to look updated, that's like no-brainer.
Yeah.
That's no-brainer.
Because now you're taking what is a 30, 40-year-old dated product.
Yeah.
Again, a couple $1,000s to do this.
Yeah.
We're not telling you to come in and blow up your kitchen and spend 15, 20 grand by any means. Would never advise somebody of that. Because again, with the concept of you can do that, and that person may say, not crazy about mocha cabinets, I need white. You just lost a buyer, even though you spent 20 grand and it's mint.
Yeah.
We're taking what is dated. People know it's dated. It looks dated. Everything about it is old, hasn't been touched in a long time, and making it look newer. It doesn't have to look like brand new, high end, but it's going to grab people's attention from just like, oh, that looks clean. It looks crisp. And that's mission accomplished for a couple $1,000s.
Yeah, but don't do the work. Honestly,
Yeah,
I mean, unless you have a ton of painting experience, please don't do the work
Especially
yourself.
with cabinets, they're difficult to do the right
I've seen
way.
homeowners buy like mini rollers and just start painting, and they're like I'm walking them going, oh my god,
Yeah.
there's paint dripping, and then it's like,
So
I thought we talked about this. But I do tell people, when we come up with a punch list, if it is extensive, when I say extensive, I'm talking about a long weekend of work.
Yeah.
My conversations are always the same. You're going to hate me today. You're going to thank me when we hit the market.
Now, I know we were talking about this before we started the podcast, but speaking of doing stuff yourself,
Yeah.
me and my dad tried to put in back in the day like a car like CD player.
Yeah.
And we messed that up. Like we had to like jam pennies in it. So I was telling you earlier, we had jam pennies to like make sure it was like level.
Because you couldn't get the trim.
It was not the right anything.
I remember those days, man.
Nobody's stealing it.
But so that's how handy my dad and I are. I was saying that my house, we might have to get like a whole new septic system. And I was just shooting the crap with my dad and talking to him about it. And he's just like, oh, maybe me and you will do it. Like, I don't think that's the type of, like, the poop project? That's the one that you want to do?
Can we do an on-site episode?
Yeah,
while
like
you guys are working on that?
Yeah, but that would be my father.
We could do it. It's like we can't even put a window in.
Run a
septic
backhoe.
system.
Run a backhoe for a week. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure the county will be fine with
Yeah,
the quality
yeah,
of work
yeah.
we do.
Yep.
Just do it on the weekend. They'll never notice.
Myra and Sons Septic.
Yeah.
No.
So I don't think that's going to happen. That
I don't
family
know.
project.
In our experience, general rule of thumb, I mean, unless you're, look, there's people that are very talented and can do the job themselves,
Yeah.
but unless you're in the business or, are really going to do a professional quality job, I don't know. This is just me speaking from my mindset, but I've learned the hard way where I've just given up on life as far as trying to be handy and not, I just try something, muck it up, and then end up having to pay somebody to do it anyway. So just pay somebody to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Depending on everybody's situation as far as if timing's an issue and this and that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're spending money for the material. You end up shooting yourself in the foot. You got to spend it all over again. Or it costs you in the sale of the home.
Yeah.
I think one of the bigger points for people to understand is, and we've talked about this before too, I mean, we're not going to put ourselves out there as far as making a recommendation on having you go out and extend yourself and spend money on whatever the project is or whatever the punch list is, unless we're super confident that's going to lead to results.
Yeah.
Potentially option one is always like, okay, this is a nice house. Let's sell it as is, so to speak. I mean, not with as is a negative connotation that it typically has in this industry, but yeah, we don't have to do anything. Go out, whether you want to deep clean yourself or hire somebody, do the landscaping, make the place look presentable, nice, spruce it up. Whether we have to get creative with staging, stuff like that.
Been doing a lot of roof cleanings. Like there's companies that do that, or you could do it yourself. A few $100.
Yeah.
They'll come out and treat your roof because you get the growth, the moss and the lichen that grows on typically the north side of the roof, the side that gets the least amount of sun. So just stuff like that, the curb appeal. Like when someone's pulling up and they don't have to see that, I mean, at least do the front of the roof because the experience starts from the time they pull in the driveway.
I've seen people they haven't cleaned their gutters in like a decade, and they have grass growing
in their gutters.
Yeah. And the beauty of it is short of, your neighbor or somebody in your neighborhood is buying your house when it hits the market, or if you're on a main road and, tons of people drive by it every day. Here's your opportunity, no matter how you've lived in the past. You could be a complete slob, right? Not take care of your home at all. Here's your opportunity to kind of reinvent the place and really put it in a positive light and no questions asked. People don't need to know what the past is. All that matters is here's what it looks like. Here's how it's presented. I can tell these people are clean. I can tell the house is in good shape.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yep.
You have problems in selling your home when people just know it's like, this guy, I don't know if I want to hop into this situation.
Right,
he looks like he's been not
got
doing much.
Got a couple tires in the front
yard.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's kind of a lot of it's obvious stuff.
Yeah.
What would you want to buy if you're buying a house? Be in that mindset.
Well,
and chances are, if you're selling, you're going to be buying. So it's like, what are you looking for when you're online looking at homes, and what are you looking for when you're in person? Make your home look like that.
Talk about like the carpets too. So what I kept running into over and over again was people were asking me, because I'm advising them, let's get these carpets cleaned. We were thinking of, should we replace the carpets? Now, replacing carpets in an empty house, not too bad. Still going to cost you thousands of dollars, depending how much has to be replaced. But I just kept referring. I was like, I don't know, because Stanley Steamer. It was just like I'd Google and be like, whatever came up on my phone, call them to have the carpets cleaned. But we were referring it enough, and my brother wanted to get, he wanted to start doing some other business, and I was like, well, this is great. This is an ancillary business. Obviously, Jason and I aren't going to be the ones cleaning the carpets, but now we have a carpet cleaning company, and we give our sellers a discount because we know that having those carpets cleaned and fresh, and what it does for like the odor of the house. We could also do we do air cleaning as well. So again, if there's any smoke, animal odors, eliminate that. Eliminate your life and what you did to that house. Make it fresh
But carpet cleaning here again, to the example of a couple $100 versus a couple $1,000 to change something cosmetically, that somebody may come in and rip that carpet up anyway and go with the hardwoods there underneath it.
And I've stopped people.
Or they may want hardwood if there isn't hardwood underneath it. They rip it up and want to put the laminate stuff or brand new hardwood or whatever.
Yeah.
Avoid making expensive, unnecessary cosmetic changes.
Non-ROI as well.
That's the key, right? When we're talking about the yellow kitchen, that's going to hurt you come as far as what your home actually sells for.
Yep.
So if you can throw $1,000 or $2,000 at that, do it.
Yep.
Because otherwise it's probably going to be, the example is like a $150,000 home with it all done up. If you got the yellow kitchen from grandma in 1970, 130?
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe less. I mean, so there's a big delta there as far as like maxing it out potential price, and then as is if it's cosmetic stuff. Because the reality is, like what we train our buyer agents on and our buyers is, look, I'd rather see you spend $10,000 fine tuning the home cosmetically to your liking than $10,000 on a roof.
Yeah.
So we're looking first at the big ticket items when we're working with buyers, just to make sure they know, hey, you're going to have to deal with this in a couple of years. Make sure you budget for it. And by the way, I know the cosmetics aren't up to your liking either, so you got to spend the money on that too.
Yeah.
So if everything is good, functional wise with the house, you don't have the money to spend there, leaves the budget, open to improve cosmetics. Well, that's us.
Yeah.
The reality of the market is, these cheap new cosmetic upgrades. Like, you get the Home Depot kitchen, not to knock anybody who's done it, but I mean, again, contractor grade stuff compared to the way they used to build it, or high quality custom kitchen is a big difference.
Yeah.
And it looks new. People want new. People are going to pay for that.
Yeah.
So if we can kind of shortcut that without having you blow up your kitchen or bathroom, mission accomplished in a lot of ways.
No doubt about it. You mentioned roof, and that's a tough one, right? So we know the roof probably only has a few years left on it. The furnace is 25 years old. I'm constantly instilling into my sellers, let's stay ahead of the stuff that's going to come up during the home inspection.
Right.
Now, there's people don't go through this all the time. So it's funny how many people still think that the home inspections are a pass or a fail. There's not a pass or a fail.
Right.
They find things that aren't to code to today's code. They find things, okay, remaining life use on this is this many years. I would advise a plumber, or I would advise an electrician, because home inspectors, it's very clear. Now, they're not liable for their report. They are not professionals in any one field.
Right.
They are generalists. They're licensed state inspectors. They look for the they look for hazards, okay? Now, they're not roofers, they're not plumbers, they're not electricians, they're not heating and cooling specialists. So I always tell my sellers, listen, what we need to do before we go on the market, have the furnace clean and inspected. And I say that because if we have it clean and inspected, and let's just say there's a cracked heat exchanger. If you have a cracked heat exchanger, furnace has to be replaced. And the reason being because carbon monoxide is making its way into the house, because that's where basically the flames and that's where the heat gets stored. So what I can replace your furnace for with my connections and guys I send work to that do a lot of favors, compared to if we don't get this clean and inspected and it comes up during the inspection, to have it done and they have it done, or we have it done and we pay to have it clean and inspected, and something comes up at that point, now the buyers, they may want to get their own quote. And if they call one of these big box companies, one of the top three in town, mm-hmm. what their cost or quote's going to look like compared to what I can get it for literally is thousands different.
Best case scenario, $1,000 difference.
So, I mean, literally, I can get a furnace replaced for, on some cases, as little as $1,000 for parts, labor. If it's like an 80% efficient furnace, if it's high efficient, you're probably talking like $1,500. So it's
got a guy.
Yeah, we have these contacts, and that's why I always push them. Let's have somebody come out. I've been having Ryan Ricketts from Cleaner Image. He's been going out to the listings before they hit the market to go and take a peek in the attic, because mold's a big thing right now. Why are you waiting to find out from the inspection? Because now that the home inspector brought it up, now they're advising you to have a mold remediation company. Yep. Now you got to pay a mold assessor. That assessor cannot do the mold remediation, although they're licensed to. They have to have a separate company do the actual remediation. Then they have to come back out and sign off on it. Right. So you're talking in some cases over $2,000 for this mold remediation, where the reality is either the insulation's covering soffit vents or there's not enough ventilation. Your attic has to breathe. It has to take air in and it has to let air out. So when it's not breathing like that, with our climate differences, mold starts to grow. But if you fix the issue, the mold will eventually die off, but it's not good enough because people are super sensitive. They don't realize, or they don't care. You're not breathing that air in from the inside of the house. And the truth is, like, growing up, it was like, I felt like every basement I was in, I thought half the basement wall was supposed to be black. Like, I didn't know what that is.
That's not how it works.
Yeah. But now, with
well, the point is like, we know what the trends are, just industry wide. Right now it's mold in the attic. So we know how
mold's hot nowadays.
It's hot, so we know
mold's coming back.
We know what to look for. We know what we can essentially nip in the butt right before,
Yeah.
it becomes an issue after a buyer does their inspection.
People are so sensitive to it, but they're dunking their pizza and wings in it.
So good.
It's all it is, just blue cheese on my walls.
all it
Like,
is.
I mean, we've had people tell us the most dangerous mold in your house is blue cheese in your
Yeah,
fridge.
the mold that'll kill you the soonest is the blue cheese in the fridge. It's true.
Now, the reality is we live in a hypersensitive world, rightfully
Yep.
so. I mean, I'm not here to make light of somebody who has
snowflakes in
a
their mold.
severe, who has a severe allergy or something like that. I mean, I get it, right? But earmuffs to my wife right now, if she's listening, we've got mold in our attic. I don't care. I want it in the house. Deal with it over time.
Yeah.
Not going to kill us.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there's just point is engage us early on so that we can like get ahead of everything that could come up. Now this is like steps ahead after the house is sold. Still what's probably most important is let's get your house ready to sell. And that's just it's a process. Don't do it alone. Why are you going to spend all this time and money potentially getting your house ready to sell when you haven't been advised professionally?
Yeah.
And now we come in and like, yeah, it's great what you did, but you didn't have to do it, or now do this, and this, and you think you're ready to list the next day, but you got another month's worth of work.
Yeah.
So it's pretty straightforward. We can break this down pretty simplistically to give you a game plan to
Seems
move
like
forward, and that way you're not blind to the process.
Two big categories are, like the structural things and, the big ticket items, and then just making the house look nice and spending.
Sprucing up,
And,
cleaning it up, landscape. It's easy stuff. That is, it's going to go with any house. Is let's make this place pop as much as we can. That's the goal.
And
if we have to spend money to do that, fine. Yep. If not, do a weekend's worth of work, like you said.
Sure. Listen, you make it as nice as you can on your budget. If you have the budget and you want to get that top dollar, I cannot tell you how many cases their investment compared to how much more they got for the house paid commissions for that deal.
Sure.
You doing these things we advised you, you're not even paying for your commission. The work you're having done is paying us our commission, and you're getting that ceiling of what your neighborhood
There
could get.
could be big dollars at stake.
Yeah.
I mean, the opposite is we've got one right now where it was just a situation where, hey, I really don't want to do anything to it. It's like, and if you're doing, what comes into play a lot of times too is if you're doing one thing, it may not matter unless you do the whole property.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, this is an as-is situation. As long as the price meets that situation, you'll be fine. And this is working out for the seller that we have now. If you were trying to get, what is top retail value and the house isn't in that condition, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But if the house is priced right, that, we've talked about that over episodes, but if the house is priced right, it's going to sell no matter what condition it's in.
And we're not going to sell it. Like, we walk away from a lot of listings.
Yeah.
And I'll give an example. We just, I'm not going to name the street or anything, but, I go on a listing appointment and the sellers were completely unreasonable. And the improvements were done by the husband who shouldn't even be playing with Legos. And he wanted to and we got this and we got this. And I'm thinking, it's like, you did all this work. It's shoddy. The trim doesn't even match up. There's paint from the wall on the ceiling. The house was like a mess. This is all we're willing to do. And this is how much I want to sell it for. And I said, listen, let me go and run some numbers. Met with them again, and I go, guys, listen, I know that there's a real estate agent out there, because there's plenty of them, that will list your house because they just want to list a house. I cannot list that house. I cannot list your house for that price, because people have a number in their mind of what they have to get out of the house for their next house. That number has no relevance on the value of your home. I can appreciate what you want, but what you're going to get, it's different than what you want. So, luck should have it. We list a house next door to it, and for double the price, because the house was worth double the price, and it sold in 48 hours. And my sign's out there, and our writer's out there. Sold in 48 hours. And meanwhile, his house is sitting, and it's been sitting. It's months now.
On the market?
On the market. So every time he drives by my sign, I'm assuming that I probably have
You're gonna
a
get
mustache and curly hair with a marker, but
right. I was gonna say you're gonna get like some bloody like pig hooves sent in the mail to you from this guy.
or like what's happened in the past, he'll call me in a month and say,
Sure.
"You were right. Come and sell our house."
Right. Either one.
One or the other. Yeah, I'm probably gonna wake up with a dead horse head.
Kind of hoping for the first. It'd be a good
Yeah.
story.
Well, I mean, so the first step is call you guys. You know,
Exactly.
call somebody so you don't do the work that doesn't need to be done, and put the
nothing
effort
else.
and money in.
Let's take our advice.
Yeah.
We've had that happen. We'll take all of our advice
Yeah.
and then do another thing.
List it the right way the first time. Like I started, you have one opportunity to make a first impression. Days in the market is the worst enemy for any listing.
Yep. Yeah, because keep in mind, your house hasn't been listed, since the last time you bought it.
Yeah.
So once it goes live, it's out there. Whether it's good or bad, you pull it off in a day or whatever, but it's out there. And now, the internet is a weird place, so they can find it again, even if you're gone for another year. So
You can check out the podcast at AnthonyButerraTeam.com. We got the real estate show link there, and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher,
What episode
YouTube.
number were we?
This is 19.
Okay, 19.
We're on 19.
Awesome.
Hammering through these.
Almost 20. What's 20? Is that what's the 20 anniversary? Is that?
It's diamond.
I thought it was silver.
Silver.
shirtless.
Shirtless.
Yeah,
That's what it
That's
is.
the next episode.
The
It's going to be
shirtless.
Breast Awareness Month.
Make sure. So make sure you tune in for that one. Subscribe, like I said, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Jason, you're going to have to shave.
Thanks for listening to The Real Estate Show. Find us on Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. If you're looking to sell or buy, talk to the Anthony Butera team of Keller Williams Realty, Greater Rochester. Visit AnthonyButerraTeam.com.